What's up, YouTube? It's Ask the Young One. Today's going to be kind of a part two to the last video I did about your energy and protect it. I got an email from someone asking me. They're explaining that they're doing the energy work and that for the most part, they're beginning to to be able to protect themselves, to be able to differentiate someone else's energy and their energy, and they're able to maintain a much different, higher vibrational state. And this comes with healing. The more we heal these traumas in us, the more we can start vibrating on a much higher level, and we can learn to maintain that. The issue in this email and the question is that they have children with the narcissist, and every time that person is around them, they feel themselves getting sucked into a lower state, to a lower vibrational state. And this is another part of the process. This is something else that we have to learn. And this is where mindfulness and learning mindfulness and shedding our own ego and learning to observe our ego rather than live and identify with it. Because what happens when you get around a toxic person or a narcissist or whatever it is that just isn't jiving with your vibration, then chances are we immediately go into our thoughts and we think, our past experiences, our different things can come up, and we start thinking about the toxicity. We start thinking about, what this person is in our experience, in our perception. So therefore, when we start that, we begin to identify with their vibration, and then we end up lowering our vibration into theirs. We begin to then intertwine with a much lower vibration in a much lower area of things, because we're going up here and we're putting a focus into that. So I wanted to just make a quick video. This won't be a long one, but it's something that, it's a process again, and it's something that I'm learning in my journey, and we will always be learning in our journeys these things. So, and it's something that I like to pass along, especially when it comes to people that we believe carry very deep narcissistic traits or are narcissists, because it's really hard to find something good to focus on, unless you have that ability to be able to completely separate yourself from those people and alleviate it, and then do the energy work and then do the inner work to the point where they're no longer a focus in you or on you or whatever it may be for you. The goal is to remove the focus, the negative focus that will bring us back down to their level. And so one thing that I've learned in the process, and it's like, especially if it's just a person that you're divorced from, or a parent, or someone that that's not cluster B, or that doesn't carry those traits but they're very negative maybe, or something along those lines. They could have 15 things about them, and 14 of those things could annoy the shit out of you, that could trigger you, that could just drive you crazy. So one thing that I've learned is to pick the one thing that doesn't drive you crazy or that doesn't annoy you, and make that your focus on them. And therefore, when you are around them, you're learning to deal with your own vibration rather than and you're learning to maintain your own vibration by focusing on the one thing that is positive rather than the 14 other things that are annoying. And eventually the 14 other things will no longer even become in your experience, and they will eventually roll out of your experience. And what will happen is, instead of you falling into their vibration or them bringing you down into their vibration because they're wanting to control how you are and how you respond and how you react to them, they want to control that. So the goal for them is to bring you back down, and your goal is to maintain and to stay on a different level, vibrational level, than other people. You want to use your energy in the most positive form of your own self, and flow on a frequency that only serves the greatness of you, and not bring yourself down to these levels. So when you're around them, if you're focusing on the one positive of the 15 things, then it will help you be able to deal with your vibration, because what's happening is when we put our thoughts and focus into them, into what they're thinking or what they're doing, which we have zero control over, but what this is a choice that we are making to drop ourselves down vibrationally into these types of people's, and then it just makes the experience exactly, we just keep reaffirming these experiences because we keep dropping ourselves into that. So I wanted to touch on that and make a quick video to give a tip on ways to deal with it when you have to deal with people. Now back to the narcissistic people. If there's 15 things that annoy you, which there's probably more than that if they are a narcissist, or if they're highly in narcissistic traits, and especially if you've done the energy work and you can truly differentiate and you've done a lot of healing, and you truly just don't feel on that same level. It's like life would never bring you two back together again because of the type of healing that you've done. But at the same time, we recognize our past experiences. We see these people for what they are, and the goal is to not put the focus on that. We have to get to this level. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen for someone that is just beginning this journey out of it. It takes time. It takes a lot of dedication to yourself and commitment to yourself. But the one thing that's helped me, and even I'm prone to it myself, of getting drawn into that. I'm prone myself to still getting drawn into that ego reaction sometimes, because these people are very, 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 very challenging. When you go through these experiences with someone that is narcissistic or has the deep narcissistic traits, it's very challenging. And the goal is to rise above that and to heal and to allow that experience to not be so traumatic. It is traumatic, but to rise out of that and to really, it's really an experience that is going to awaken you into your soul if you allow it. The only way that doesn't happen is when we just completely resist it. And then we'll just end up repeating the same cycle until we finally get that. But back to my one way of dealing with it. And this is how I do it for the most part, is I don't put my focus into the ego identity of the narcissistic person or the narcissistic traded egoic, super extreme ego living person. I know that is a false self, and it's very negative. It's very, if I go immediately into the past experiences of this person, then I will immediately lower my vibration, because it's a very negative, toxic experience for me. So in order for me to maintain and deal and continue to keep my own vibrational state in a good, positive, loving space, like my very first focus is self-love and frequency and vibrating on that level, and enjoying and just being one with all things in love. But when you have to deal with these people, the one way that I deal with the narcissistic people or narcissistic traded people or whatever they are, just very toxic, is I focus on the fact that at some point they were a little baby that came into this world, and they were in their own essence. And at some point they decided to numb themselves away from that and separate and disconnect. But the fact that whatever they are in this ego extreme that they live in is not who they truly are. And the fact that there is somewhere deep in them the experience of essence and pureness and love. I don't believe in the whole demonic entity came in and swooped in and took over them and all that. I just don't go that route with it. I believe in souls. I follow the energy of our souls, and I believe we are here to rise above it and to change this earth by awakening into our souls. So the one focus when you're dealing with someone so toxic is you can focus on the fact that somewhere deep down inside of them, even though they are not connected to it, there is a place of love in that person, and it will help you not get drawn into just their pure toxicity that they will want you to get drawn into, because they want you to come back down to their level. And when you can flow on this kind of state, or flow in this vibration, and you'll notice how a lot of times you'll notice when they get a reaction out of you, and then you've then observed through consciousness your own ego. You have then became the observer of your own ego when they're able to bring you back into their world and lower you down. So it's growth. This is process. This is realizing our journey. And it's just, for the most part, and if you have kids with these people, your challenges are doubled. You really got to challenge yourself even more. But what I was saying was, again, as you're doing this, as you have an interaction with them, and then you're done with that interaction, and you realize your vibration is still very high, very good, very feeling good, seeing love. Your perception is seeing the world a different way, even after an interaction with them. It's like, yay, I'm growing, and you see it and you feel it. So I hope this was a helpful tip to the question. Just really remembering, to focus on something that is different than the pure toxicity or the negative things or the things that annoyed you. And eventually, as you deal with these people, it doesn't matter if they're narcissist, toxic, just don't get along anymore, just outgrew each other, whatever it may be. But as you maintain and learn to maintain and deal with your own inner self and your own energy, then these people will have a choice then, rather than you choosing to go down to their level. They will have a choice to either join you where you're at, or to remove themselves from your experience. You will not bring these people into your experiences if you're not somewhere vibrationally on that experience, or in that frequency. It just doesn't happen. So I wanted to touch on that because I thought it was a good question, and I hope it helped. I hope people are really thinking about what we're saying here. And I want to touch also that if you follow me on Instagram, I'm posting like crazy about the Inside Out project. That's in that it is an 8-week deal where every week we focus hard on these changes. This is the type of stuff that we work to change and peel our own mask away, peel the layers back within ourselves, break our own inner beliefs, work on creating that God or goddess within us, and allowing ourselves to truly reconnect to our own selves. And so if you're interested in that, or just one-on-one, if you just want to work on it, my email is in the thing. And if this stuff resonates, please share it, like it, subscribe, and I will go for now. And I hope it helps. I hope that it at least plants a seed, something to think about and practice. Think about one good thing. Like I said, for me, and this isn't for everybody, but for me, when it comes to dealing with narcissists, and we have to deal with them, if we're put in that position where we must interact with them on any level at any point, to focus that there is a hurt little child in there that is dying for love, and not the extreme ego that these people put out to the rest of the world, because it's simply a false self. That they're gonna die, and their soul is gonna go like, what did we just do for the last 80 years? Just no connection. So it's hopefully this helps. But I'll go for now, and I hope everyone has a great night. Namaste.